I'm Jamie Doyle. I'm a Managing Director at NatWest Bank, and I work in our Infrastructure Finance division, which finances, we advise on and finance infrastructure projects across Western Europe. So that includes everything from regulated utilities like water and gas, all the way through to transport like ports and airports as well. I think the adoption of technology is probably the one thing I'll take away from this, and I think what it means for actually how much physical meetings people need to have going forward, how much of a physical footprint companies need to have. We're obviously in the City of London. If we can do our job from remotely from all over the place, how much do people need to be in there? I think that's going to be one of the more lasting legacies, is how we can actually use technology more and make sure that we can have a little bit more flexibility. I think one of the things that I've found probably the biggest challenge is we've got quite a lot of junior people in the team, and some of us are in a kind of relatively fortunate position. I'm sat in a home office at the moment, but some of the juniors in the team are still in flat shares with their friends from university. They're maybe at kind of one end of the dining table, and their flatmates are at the other. Some of them have got kind of 2 or 3 people around the same dining table, and you kind of take it for granted that your setup works and others doesn't. And then we've got others in the team who, because of this, might have had flatmates who've gone home to live with their parents during this, and they're stuck in London on their own. And I think a lot of people have been focusing on the well-being and kind of how to work around homeschooling and parenting and stuff. And personally, I don't think there's been enough focus on those junior people and actually the impact it's having on them, both from a learning and development point of view, because so much of what they learn about is actually just listening to what's going on round about them. We're in an open plan office normally. They can pick a lot of stuff up just from listening to that. That's not happening at the moment, and a lot of their social interaction is with their peers and work. And I think we had to have quite a big push, especially after the Easter break, actually, when it was kind of a long weekend. Most of us were able to enjoy the long weekend, but that was the longest period they'd gone without having regular dialogue with people, and you could sense that some of them were a little bit down after that. So I think how we think about kind of what interaction and how much focus we put on that learning and development, because so much of it is just assumed because it's on the job and day to day, is actually going to be a real challenge. Because I think one of the changes will be more people working remotely, but how do we give those like kind of people just starting their careers the same benefit and the same opportunity to learn? As the kind of directors and managing directors in the team, we've been trying to take it in turns to just kind of organise one-on-ones with the junior people in the team. I mean, it's over Zoom, it's not quite the same, and to be honest, we're trying not to talk about work as well. But I think one of the good things about the technology is we're getting better at not just having 2 people phone each other on the mobile to come to a conclusion. We're still trying to do kind of video conferencing, so people can still listen in a bit. So that's one thing. But I mean, ultimately, at times like this, organisations quite often become hierarchical as well, because decision making is more difficult, and you've got to do that. So people don't often get the benefit of seeing the rationale and the thinking behind that decision making, when the institutions naturally in crises become a little bit more hierarchical. So it's going to be interesting to see what impact it has over the next kind of 12, 18 months on the people that have been just starting out in their careers in the first kind of year of their career during this crisis.